Chapter 25. Around 50 feet back from Javi, Angelica walked. She ducked into shops every now and again, pretending to look at some of their items near the door so she could both see Javi and follow him at a moment's notice. He walked slowly as though he didn't have somewhere specific to go. Angelica knew otherwise. She would play the long game if she had to. The February weather was much colder than the summer, but much warmer than the northeast of England, where she had lived directly before arriving in Javier. It was the cold wind from the North Sea that she missed the least from back in England. That and Tommy's father. He was in prison as far as she knew. He could stay there for the rest of his life as far as she was concerned. Javi walked the walk of a man who was strong and determined, but didn't try to crash his way through every situation. Angelica liked that about him. The fact that he could use his power if needed, but didn't rely on it unless he had to. He continued meandering his way along the street before turning left away from the sea and inland. It wasn't the same street the police station was on, but ran parallel to it. At the next junction, he turned left again. Angelica was able to follow in the shadow created by the buildings either side of the street. Even if Javi had turned around, he wouldn't be able to pick her out as she was just a silhouette. The next turn confused Angelica. She ran her hand through her hair, still feeling some of the excessive hairspray she had worn at the Valentine's masked ball. Javi turned left again. He was heading back down towards the sea. Angelica quickened her stride, keeping closer than ever. She felt that he would disappear into a building at any moment. She was sure he would enter a property before he reached the seafront. If he was going back there, then he would have just turned right along the seafront instead of left, and left again. Angelica was wrong. Javi Jones walked towards the seafront and turned left. He sat at a table just outside the cafe they had just departed from minutes earlier. Angelica wondered how close she could get without being noticed. She grabbed her jacket out of her bag and put it on, rolling up the legs on her trousers so they looked like shorts, and tied her hair up, so it looked much shorter than it actually was. At short notice, this was as good as she could manage to look as different as possible. Javi faced one way. Angelica sat with her back to his, so he wouldn't simply see her. She was close enough to hear him on his phone. "Yes, I'm here. Mirror Luna on the front. You can't miss it." Around 2 minutes later, a man sat on the table with Javi Jones. The man had shaggy brown hair and dark brown eyes. In the daylight, she couldn't be 100% sure, but Angelica knew it looked very much like the younger guy Delia had taken a shine to at the Valentine's masked ball. She leaned backwards in her chair, hoping that her third cup of coffee in the previous hour wouldn't bring about a sudden and uncontrollable urge to go to the loo. The two men spoke, Javi asking the questions, the younger man answering. "Where were you on the night of February 14th? "I was at the Valentine's ball. Wasn't anyone who's anyone in Javier?" he answered in a nondescript British accent. Angelica recognised it, but not enough to be able to narrow it down to a specific part of the country. "I was there too. Who were you with?" "Nobody. I'm a bit of a loner. I know people, but I go places on my own." "What if I tell you people saw you with Georgina Natchez?" "I spoke to Georgina. I know her. I work for her father." "And did he know you were going to the ball?" "It was my night off. It's none of his business." "That wasn't what I asked. Did he know he owns the place?" "I'm not aware of whether Vicente Natchez knew my whereabouts on the night of February 14th. "Do you know his whereabouts on that night?" Javi asked. "None of my business. Listen, cop, I'm gutted that Georgina is dead. Really, I am. But I can't help you. I don't know anything. And my loyalty belongs to him, not you. Here's my card. Don't leave town. And if you think of anything at all that might help us to catch her killer, then please, phone me right away, any time of day or night." "Don't you go to sleep?" the scruffy man asked as Javi got to his feet. "I won't rest until I find her killer." And he was gone.